All right, it's 6:30. Welcome to the February 22nd, 2022 Abington Conservation Meeting. Before we get going on Dale Street, I know 44-54 Linwood Street and 154 Brockton Ave both requested continuances till the March 8th meeting. Does somebody want to make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Each of those properties?
I'll make a motion to continue 44-54 Linwood and 154 Brockton Ave to the March 8th meeting.
You have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And what about for Brockton Ave, 154 Brockton Ave?
I think I listed both of them.
Oh, you did both? Okay.
Yeah, I did both at the same time, 44 through 54 Linwood and 154 Brockton Ave.
Okay, so next on the agenda is continued hearing for SE 084-0549. Notice of intent, Rick Montgomery to construct a single-family dwelling construction, including driveway, grading, landscaping, and utilities within the 100-foot buffer zone at 75 Dale Street. Somebody from the applicant here to speak?
Yes, my name is Paul Bacus with Grady Consulting on behalf of the applicant, Rick Montgomery. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Go right ahead.
I think I need Tony to allow me to share screen. There we go. Is everyone able to see the plan on the screen?
Yep.
Excellent. Since we've last met, we've met with some other boards, and the applicant had decided to change some things around within the site, and so I'm going to kind of update you on those changes. Particularly, probably the biggest change would be out towards the front of the house. We were previously utilizing the existing driveway to service two houses that would be subdivided into two new lots. Zoning would not agree to a shared driveway. In meeting with the zoning board, an abutter, Mr. Doug Ulwick, had presented an option to widen the existing driveway such that the property line could divide the driveway onto two different parcels, and zoning would then permit variances for the driveways being so close to the lot lines. They felt that two driveways were better than one. In order to accomplish this, we would have to, obviously a widened driveway was going to have some impacts. The driveway itself was going to be widened to the south. We're going to maintain the existing right edge, northerly edge of the driveway and widen the driveway towards the south. This would result in having to prepare to upgrade the existing crossing that exists out there. Currently, it's just two 10-inch plastic pipes. When reviewing some of the stormwater, the crossing standards, we elected to go with a three-sided box culvert for this new crossing. As a result, this obviously had some wetland and some flood zone impacts as we're so close to the intermittent stream. The part of the reason we chose the three-sided box culvert is that even though it is an intermittent stream, we were concerned that there is the possibility that wildlife does use this crossing, and so we need to provide the opportunity for them to get through it. Most likely, fish are not using this intermittent stream as it does go dry at times for the year, but certainly invertebrate and other small species may use the existing crossing. The three-sided box culvert will provide them with a better opportunity to cross, make it much easier for them. When we place the culvert, providing the proper openness and providing the 1.2 times the bank width, it ended up resulting in that approximately 236 square feet of wetland would be impacted, and then as approximately 29 square feet of flood storage would also be impacted. I believe the notice of intent form may say 36 square feet. That would be incorrect. The plan is correct. The form is incorrect. As a result, to mitigate these impacts, we are proposing some wetland replication and some flood zone replication near the southerly portion of the site. We submitted a wetland replication plan by our botanist with the amount and the types of species to be used in this area. We're calling for 488 square feet of wetland replication, which is a greater than 2-to-1 ratio. We're also providing 68 square feet of flood zone storage, which is also greater than a 2-to-1 ratio. The other change was there was concern with the proposed structure being within the 100-foot wetland of the man-made depression that it kind of exists out towards the middle of the site. After thinking about it, the applicant decided to move the dwelling outside of the buffer and bring it close to his barn. So under this new proposed site plan, no building, no structure or dwelling would be located, no proposed dwelling or structure would be located inside the 100-foot buffer. There would be some grading impacts within the buffer, as well to grading for drainage, and as well as to construct a gravel driveway to access the residence. The wetland located towards the northerly endmost of the site is an upstream wetland. There's no runoff headed in that direction. The wetland line itself is actually higher than the elevation of where the dwelling and the barn is going to be. So no runoff is going to affect that particular wetland. The man-made depression, we are proposing the gravel driveway on the existing path. We have submitted a stormwater report. I don't want to talk about get into the details of stormwater because that's reserved for the March 8th meeting. But we are providing a grass swale along the edge of the gravel driveway so that stormwater runoff isn't running directly into the man-made depression. And with that, you can also see the amount of buffer impacts we have. That is just associated with the driveway access to reach the proposed dwelling and the proposed barn. And with that, I guess I'll open it up to any questions that the commission may have.
Does anybody
Chair-
here from the board have any questions? I know I have some questions that Kathy wrote down and sent to me because she's not going to be able to attend tonight, but I'll open it up to you guys first.
I do have a question. In looking at this plan, I noticed that where the proposed dwelling is, and I'm following the intermittent river, all of a sudden it just kind of drops off. And I was wondering what the distance is from the proposed dwelling in relationship to the river. I mean, am I the only one to see this? I don't know. I mean,
That's one of Kathy's comments too. Behind number 5 Dale Street you're talking about?
yes.
Yeah, it looks like it just gets cut off and we can't, just looking at maps, I know that stream goes farther past this 5 Dale Street and beyond. It's just not shown on this property. So we don't know exactly how close it is to the house and the barn. I mean, I believe it's there, just I don't see it on the plan. So I can't make a judgment on that.
I have an answer for you if you'd like one.
Sure.
So it's cut off on the plan just the way the plan got plotted, but I'm just looking in our files here. It is approximately 261 feet from the nearest corner to the center of the stream.
To the center of the stream. And what's the width of the stream there? Because it's intermittent. What was it from bank to bank? I mean, I'm just trying to visualize it, I guess.
Sure, give me 1 second. It does vary according to according to the survey I'm looking at, but it's measuring approximately 17 feet, bank to bank, top of bank to top of bank.
Okay.
260, 17. Thank you. I do, never mind, I'm just gonna, wait a second. I have a few things I do want to say, but I'm curious to hear what Kathy's questions are, because I don't want to repeat everything or duplicate what she's
Well,
asking.
that's why I figured I'd let you guys go first. I can cross them off as you guys.
Oh, no, let's hear Kathy's first.
Well, I just want to make one thing, because I think there might be more discussion about that. But I remember we were talking about this being like a tree farm, but where's the farm part going to be on this plan? Because I don't know where that's going to be. It's not shown.
I would have to defer to the applicant on that one. I don't think that's being built right away. I think that's a future proposed condition. I don't know how far in the future that is. I don't know if Rick's able to speak to that.
Hi, my name's Rick Montgomery. I live at 37 Orchard Lane, and I also own 75 Dale Street. The plans for planting, well, they fell short from fall. We've lost 100 seedlings, unfortunately. We obviously can't plant anything until we have proper irrigation. When you go straight up the driveway going into the first clearing, that would be the first 100 trees that would go in. But we're going to put everything as far as the farm goes the following fall after we have occupancy for the house with electricity for the well and occupancy for the house.
I would just like to see that on the plan where that's going to be located, because we've been moving the house in different locations. And I would hate for us to, approve something and then later it's like, oh, the farm's going to be in this one area that's actually a sensitive area. So it would be nice to know like where this exactly is going to be planned to be located.
If you're going straight up the driveway before it makes the right-hand turn,
Mhm.
it would be in that area right there. So, yep, that's it.
Okay.
And that'll be, of course, we'll be working with the forestry department, and he'll be coming in and doing his site evaluation and following protocol through them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, or should I start reading Kathy's?
Well, I might have something to add after Kathy's. I just, again, don't want to duplicate anything, so you can read hers. I'm fine with that.
All right, we covered the stream up behind Dale Street. The next comment she had was, in addition, it should be noted that DEP declared 5 Dale Street River segment as perennial. The buildings are north of that location, but the roadway is right there.
So she's saying that the roadway is within the 200 feet.
Yeah, I know she was on the board, I guess, a couple years ago when 5 Dale Street came before it. And that's how she came to the conclusion that it was perennial in that location.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that case, if it's perennial in that location, then the Rivers Protection Act would apply. So there's going to be a 200-foot buffer. That doesn't seem to affect the house itself, but whatever driveway is going to be there would be within that zone, it looks like.
But this commission declared that stream intermittent.
It's intermittent at the site, but it's been, according to what Paul was just reading, Kathy said it was determined at 5 Dale Street to be perennial. So it, different places, you can't just say it, the entire stream is intermittent. It goes as it's bending, it'll be perennial in some spots and more intermittent in others. So it would be nice to have that on the plan so we could measure the distance of the driveway.
Mm,
Do you have a
Yeah,
date? Do you have a date for that determination?
I don't.
no, but
She doesn't, I'd have to ask Kathy, because like I said, she was on the board then. If I can search it real quick.
Would the building department have plans on 5 Dale where the original house was torn down and the new one was built?
They should.
So. Let's see if we can find anything. I'm just going to do a quick search.
While you're searching that, Gene, the next comment she had, which I think we kind of already touched on, was the river is not shown on the drawings as it moves north towards Beaver Lane. The river, the BBW, and the 200-foot zone should be shown on the drawings.
Yeah.
We can add that to the drawings.
And number 4, she says, since she has been behind the 2 Dale Street properties immediately south of 75 Dale Street and 5 Dale Street, she knows there are wetlands behind both those properties and they are not delineated on the drawings.
Okay. Documents. I'm not having much luck trying to do it on my phone. I was trying to get into the building department and search, the online records.
The easiest thing to do is probably get in touch with Kathy, and she can
Right.
probably tell us exactly when it was.
Yeah.
All right, the next comment she had was, maps need to show the 100-year floodplain, not an interpolated floodplain line, but what is actually shown on the FEMA flood map should be shown. If they want to adjust the floodplain, there's a process to do that with FEMA.
Okay, we can certainly bring that image in and get the approximate floodplain in. We were kind of interpolating north of the site. It's approximately flood elevation is 157. South of the site is 155. So we were interpolating it. There's about 156 here, but we can certainly bring that image in, overlay it to the site, and just verify that we have the right flood line.
All right, next, the potential vernal pool looks like a possible isolated land subject to flooding. Calculations for the 100-year storm will determine the extent of the isolated land subject to flooding.
So do we have those calculations? Are they available?
They might be within the stormwater. So I don't want to go
We'll
into
wait till,
stormwater too much.
we'll wait for 2 weeks to talk about that then.
With stormwater, yeah.
Okay.
Next comment she had, wetland delineation is missing from any of the Dale Street, Oakland Street properties that abut in our north of 75 Dale Street.
Is that similar to the previous comment?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
And
She might be
next
talking
comment,
She might be-
go ahead.
Sorry. She might be talking about not just like the area about 5 Dale Street, but also the other areas surrounding the property. I think that's what she's getting across from what I heard.
So the swamp to the west of the property, that was delineated. We didn't show the flag numbers, but we can certainly add that to the plan. I'm just looking at my notes here. To the east, it appears the flagging was stopped by 0 Oakland Road. We do show let me see if I can bring it up for you.
All right. Next comment's about stormwater, so we're not gonna discuss that.
mhm.
And that's it. That's all she has for the applicant. So I'll open it back up to the rest of the board. If you have any more questions.
And so,
Actually-
yeah, oops, I'm sorry. So,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
so we do have, again, it was just cut off. But yeah, we did the flagging. I'll have to check. This was, unfortunately, this project was started before my time here, under a different applicant. And so I'll verify to see if 261 here is the last flag or if the flags did in fact continue. This may be a line from Mass GIS or if there was flagging that continued down. So it sounds like the comment though was that we need to, the concern here is that we need to show the flagging all the way down.
Yeah.
And then as I was mentioning, we do have flags for the up area and we did have flags for the swamp as well. We just didn't show the flags because we weren't going anywhere near that or impacting that particular buffer.
Okay.
I do have something I would like to throw out there to the board. I mean, the commission. And I was reading through the MACC handbook. And in it, it says the commission has the authority to secure outside independent consultants on a project of this size where you've got a river crossing, you've got things we can't talk about tonight, like stormwater and flood, but we've got erosion, we've got sediments, we've got intermittent stream, river crossings, we've got isolated wetlands. I think that we should take advantage of this ability to request that we secure an independent consultant to give us an independent review of the proposed project at the expense of the applicant. And I don't know how my fellow commissioners feel about this, but this seems to be a very, very involved project. It isn't simply working within a 100-foot buffer zone. We've got a lot of information here. You know, the type of stream crossing, you have a 3-sided one. I think that river crossings, you know, bank to bank, I'm not an expert in that field, so I think that we should be looking at using an independent consultant that would report to the board here, to the commission, and give us their interpretations of what we're looking at. I'm going to throw it out there to the commissioners.
Also on Kathy's list.
Oh, was it really?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think
There's a lot here. There's a lot here.
And it would be good to get, there's just a lot that's missing from the plans, and things have been moved around so much. It's just so complicated, and it would just be nice to get, something.
We can get estimates. I mean, MACC is open to suggesting independent consultants in the area. I'd say probably 3 estimates or something to see who has the time, what their fees would be, and, be able to present this. I want to do it right the first time. I don't want to have to keep redoing this over and over and over. And I think that to have an independent wetland scientist or any other specialist to be able to look at this and concur and agree or point out issues that we may have overlooked would be beneficial to the commission as well as Mr. Montgomery and his project. That's my opinion.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that.
I think it's a good idea.
I don't want to, they've been coming before the board now since August, and I think just
Yeah.
the faster we can get this resolved for the applicant, I think to me,
I
it's the
do too.
best solution.
Sometimes, a new set of eyes that can report to us and give us their interpretation and concur or disagree and work it out, because it is costing, us time, Mr. Montgomery time. And like he said, he's lost seedlings that he's paid for. And, again, this has been before the board, like you said, Paul, since August. And
Has this commission seen the stormwater comments?
I got the email this morning. I haven't really had a chance to digest it yet.
The reviewer commented on additional stuff outside of the stormwater. So it's possible that what you're asking for might already be completed. He had some input on the crossing and the stream itself. So
What-
take a look at that to see if that satisfies your concern.
Was this the email that we got a couple hours ago? It was forwarded to us?
I
I
don't
sent
think
it
that-
out early today. It's probably from either this morning or around 4:30.
Okay.
I
There was
don't,
it says forward 75 Dale Street. And it's from Andrew Point. Is that the one?
No,
No, that's Mass DEP. The other one was from Mike Peralt. He's the consultant for the planning board, who the planning board's kind of loaning to the commission to do the stormwater review.
is he the
Yeah.
town engineer?
I don't know
well,
if
he's hired by the town for the planning board.
Okay, yeah, but he's the engineer, right?
Yep.
I'm specifically looking more towards a wetland scientist than an engineer.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure again that it's done correctly the first time around, so we don't have to keep going back and forth over and over and over again. Again, things have been changed since originally it was proposed back in August. So now I'd feel more comfortable with a wetland scientist.
Yeah.
And then for.
Am I
independent-
mistaken? Did we not walk the site with Mass DEP?
Yeah.
Okay. I just remember we had multiple conversations about a lot of these things. And although he wasn't concerned, certainly he thought that engineering was going to be a key part of all this. And I believe Grady Associates has kind of addressed a good portion of that. I'm not against having an outside consultant to look at some of this, but it certainly seems like the process itself overall has been slower than we would have expected.
I think what Jeannie is getting across isn't so much like the engineering stuff. It's just going through and making sure we have a true picture of the site in terms of habitat, wildlife,
Thank
This
you.
have
Yeah.
a bigger understanding of just that general area. It would just be really nice to have our own independent person, and it's something that MACC recommends. It's something that DEP recommends doing, that we have the prerogative to do.
It's also right in the Abington bylaws too.
Yeah. When it comes to a project or any project, the more data, the better. And if we can get someone who's like really good at what they're doing and they can come to us and, you know, act as our, almost like a conservation agent, I don't know why we'd want to turn that down. I think it's just best to err on the side of caution and get as much information as we possibly can.
You put that
I think it's
very
always
eloquently.
best to have the most information possible before we make a decision. I'm not poo-pooing the idea per se, just reaffirming the fact that I thought we had Mass DEP out there, and we did ask a plethora
We
of
did have,
questions.
But it's all, the scope has changed since Andrew went out there back in August or September.
Paul, I just want to add something here that we've gone ahead and we've hired a horticulturalist, a surveying company, an engineering company. We had DEP come out. We were also paying the $2,500 for the town's engineer to look at the stormwater management plan that I had to pay additional for. I'm kind of curious to see where this is going. What we've done is we've covered all of our bases and everything that you asked for. And now in the 10th hour, we're having somebody step forward and ask for somebody independent. These are all agencies that are licensed through the state. I'm not quite sure where we're going with this. Are we basically saying those people with the licenses from Massachusetts don't know what they're doing and you need a second opinion?
I don't think
No.
that we're saying that they don't know what they're doing, but we do have something that's this complex, is that we do have the prerogative to go ahead and have our own independent wetland scientist go over this with us.
This is a single family dwelling. It's not a neighborhood that's going in. I'm not quite sure that I can continue to keep paying. I mean, we're just shy of $100,000 into this project, and I haven't broke ground yet. How many more people have to get involved with this? We've had DEP out there for the site visit.
When they did the
DEP
site visit, they did the site visit on a pedestrian bridge going over the brook, not a whole brand new 3-sided box culvert.
We're also missing information on the surrounding areas regarding that area that's been designated as perennial. So there's information there that we're missing. Things have been moving around, and I understand we've gone from planning to zoning here and back and forth, and it may feel like you're, ping pong ball going back.
I've actually taken steps to move the house out of the area of concern, and we bought the property to put the house there, so we overlooked something that we wanted. I'm trying to eliminate any problems, and every time I jump through that hoop, 3 more get thrown up in front of me. I just wonder where this ends.
Right. Well, the idea of getting the scientist is to get it to end eventually. I mean, the house being moved, I think, was where it is. I think it's, I was like, oh, that's a really good spot for it. Just kind of glancing at it, but I wasn't aware that there was the river that was getting closer to there. But it is our prerogative to ask for this. I just want to make that clear. And I know that this is frustrating, but I also know we have to do the best job that we possibly can. And it just seems like we keep asking for data and missing data and just not getting a really good picture here. And we want to be able to have enough information so we can make a really good judgment.
Exactly. And unfortunately, when this came before the board back in August, things did change, like Paul has pointed out and Lynn has pointed out as well. And I want to make sure that this time out, we do the job that we were sworn to do and abide by all the DEP and regulations that we're that we operate by. And hopefully we'll get this done and it will be clear, and come spring, you'll be planting trees. I mean, I just feel that we do need that independent wetland scientist that can communicate to the board directly. And, you know, it is within our authority to ask for that.
If we hire a consultant, what's the timeline on it? Because I'd be concerned for Mr. Montgomery's time if this is going to take 60 or 90 days to hire somebody, get your estimates, and then do the review and then go before us again. I'd be concerned with a timeline on it.
I don't have specifics because I've never done this before. I don't see it taking 60 days. I don't see it taking 90 days. It's a matter of putting the information out there, contacting 3 different independent wetland scientists, showing them what we're looking at, and giving us a price and presenting that to Mr. Montgomery. He has 5 business days to look at the person we select and decide then. So it would be like you, if you went out to cost a job, how long does it take you to get the information back to your people that you're doing or proposing to do the job for? An estimate. I know my husband, when he built houses, it was the same way. He'd come home, do the plan, cost it out. Would it take a week or 2, maybe 3,
Right.
maybe? Yeah.
I think we'd have to set a date on it though, because things do vary. I could turn a price around in a day, or it could take me a month. That's why I think if we do
Yeah, it
vote on it,
depends.
we should set a timeline on it.
It would probably be as fast as we could get a response from 3 independent wetland scientists. I mean, some response, it's kind of like doing a comp search. It's doing a comp search for us, just to not go off subject, but 2 of the most local towns didn't respond, but yet I've got 3 other towns further away from us that responded. Go figure.
Gene,
Yes.
does, I know you reference MACC. Do they have a list of,
I
of-
think that if I call, they can provide us with different, I think I already have 2 names. One's in Plymouth. I don't have it on me right in front of me because I was trying to figure out, are there any around us? There's one in Plymouth, but I can't remember her name. It's a woman. And then there's another one. I don't have them in front of me. I'm sorry. I've had that kind of a day, but I can definitely call them tomorrow and find out.
My understanding from our training is that you get the 3 bids. We as a board meet, we decide which one we think is the best. So that would be one meeting at that point, and then they would take it, give it to Mr. Montgomery and then take it from there.
so right there, you're talking, it's gonna be more than a couple weeks then? Before,
It would be probably,
before
I would say
anything's
probably,
even done.
It's probably, but I mean, the growing season kind of really begins in mid-March anyway. So it would be good, you know, and there are some amphibians, for example, that live in certain areas that they're just around from mid-March to end of May. So we definitely would like to get it done before the end of May. But yeah, we have to see. I wish I could say how long it would take. I've never done it before.
neither have I, and we're a relatively new board. So let's get it right this time out. It's not like the prior board.
Russ, have you ever, you've got the most tenure on the board. Have you guys ever done this before?
No, we haven't.
No?
And what specifically would the board be requesting from this wetland scientist?
A delineation of the area,
River crossing,
river crossing.
their recommendations.
I mean,
I
there
mean, I
has,
see what's,
Well, you want to have them review the the entire scope.
Right. I'd like them to see what we're looking at. I'd like them to read what your independent botanist, scientist. They may concur and it may be over quickly, or it may not. That's the purpose of having the ability to request it. Board members, commission members. Any more questions? How do you feel?
Well, before we take any votes, we have to open it up to the public anyways. I don't know if,
Well, I didn't know if they had any more questions.
oh, the board, yeah.
Right.
That particular thing or other things about the property?
Anything about the property?
Okay. Well, I was talking to Andrew, the DEP, and one of the things that he had mentioned had to do with the crossing. And he was glad to see that instead of a pipe, there was going to be that three-sided culvert. But he said there was some missing information about the performance standards for the stream crossing. And he recommended that get that information and that that the applicant should try to adhere to the optimum standards. As he phrased it, the maximum standards. So that would be really great information to have as well.
I spoke to Andy as well.
Okay, good. And that's all I have about that.
And I guess question for the board. So is the board is not against improvements at the crossing? I'm not hearing any of that. So you're not against any sort of improvements at the crossing or a wide driveway?
With the information that we have, I think if we could have more information about how you guys are going to adhere to the performance standards for the stream crossing.
But in general, it's not dead on arrival.
No.
Say that again?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not hearing Mr. Grady consultant. I can't hear him very well. For some reason, he keeps garbling, breaking up on me.
Sorry, I have a deep voice, so it's tough sometimes. There's no, what I'm hearing though from the board is that there's no there's no complete objection to modifying the crossing, to widening the driveway or anything like that. Obviously, there's some more information you'd like to see, but at first glance, there's no immediate objection to what we're proposing.
No.
Thank you.
Now, there might be some changes that are needed for the stream crossing to have them more in compliance with the performance standards, as Andrew was mentioning. But with the information that I see, I think it's fine. But again, it gets into the information that we see right now. Is that most accurate? Do we have enough information?
Thank you.
Sure.
The culvert, you're planning on installing that when that stream is dry, right? Or attempt to, I should say.
We didn't work on construction phasing, but yeah, if the stream goes dry, that's probably the optimal time to install it.
And if it is still wet, how are you gonna bypass the flow?
We haven't come up with any sort of dewatering or bypassing. I think, the dry when it's dry is probably the best time to do it.
All right, anybody else have any questions? All right, I'll open it up to the public at this time. Is there anybody out there? I'm afraid to.
I know.
Not sure what happened.
That was bad.
Did you get Doug Olick's thing I sent over? The
Did I?
complaint, it was in the quick reminder email.
When did you send it over?
I sent it as an email, 4:30ish.
I did not get
Oh, I
that.
don't even think I've gone to my emails.
I'm just looking at it now.
You want to read it out, Lynn?
Oh, sure. Okay. 22nd February 2022, reads 75 Dale Street. Dear ladies and gentlemen of the commission, I'm not sure I'll be able to be on the Zoom meeting for this evening. I'm chairing a meeting with another town committee at 5:30, but as a direct abutter downstream to the work at hand for the 75 Dale Street project, I am naturally concerned about the outcome. I've had a chance to look at the stormwater bylaw filing by the applicant. I'd like to offer the following into the record of the meeting. I'm pleased that the applicant has moved the location of the proposed house away from the vernal pool. I am pleased that the applicant has filed the paperwork to address the stormwater bylaw. Having reviewed it, at least in a cursory fashion, I'm concerned that it does not include a plan of the existing conditions, not the existing conditions a year ago when the applicant purchased the property, but the existing conditions as the stormwater bylaw paperwork was submitted. I have suspicions that much more area was cleared than is indicated on the plans, but that is unknown without an existing conditions plan for comparison. I am pleased that the driveway passing over the river is being addressed with the new box culvert proposed, and the town's consulting engineer will apparently have a look at that with perhaps some understanding about how it may or may not affect the rate and capacity of flow. I feel like an opportunity afforded by the box culvert is being missed. With the added driveway width afforded by the new culvert, it would be possible to have two separate driveways running side by side along a common property line with a 3-foot green strip on either side of the property line. If the Conservation Commission and the applicant would agree to that layout, it might eliminate the need for the applicant to seek a variance relative to the gravel driveway constructions. I've illustrated the layout I've proposed on the attached sheet. Thanks for your attention and your service to the town. Sincerely, Douglas Pete Olbuck. And then he just has an attachment where he has the proposed.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Paul, were you sent this email or no?
I did not receive a copy, no.
I'm
All right.
actually sending it over to you right now, Paul.
Thank you, Tom.
What time did you send that over, Tony?
Around 4:30ish.
I don't think I got it. I'm looking at my email and I'm like, why am I not seeing it?
I don't believe I've gotten it either. I did not see it.
Okay.
It says the title was quick reminder.
Quick reminder, yeah.
Oh, okay. That was at 3:52.
Yeah, 3:52.
Oh, I got
Oh, all right.
And then it's one of the attachments.
Okay.
It's lumped in with all the meeting minutes.
Yeah.
I will touch base on the existing conditions. I know that's been a request. I think you guys requested it, and I didn't get it to you, as well as it was also requested in some of the stormwater comments. I won't get into the stormwater too much, but the existing conditions, how we did the stormwater, was based on our initial survey, which was completed prior to the applicant purchasing the property. So it is very conservative design in that really the only clearing is for the existing house in that little grassed area. Prior to the applicant purchasing it, the previous owner had cleared some land behind the house, and that was not factored into our stormwater. We kept that as wooded area, so our stormwater was actually extra conservative in dealing with that. But that's, again, another meeting.
Oh, I see Doug Elwick's. I get it. So boy.
All right, can I ask a quick question here? What would be the intention or the purpose of having that green strip right down either of those 10-foot driveways?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
The only thing I can think of is that he just wants it delineated that one driveway goes one way and the other driveway goes the other way. I mean, so it can't be used in together? I don't know. It's a good question.
Having worked with the zoning and reviewing the driveway regulations for zoning, the driveways need to be so far from the property line, and they also need to be so far apart from each other. And I think his intent was to, if you separate them, then we don't have to go through zoning. But I think just 3 feet is just not enough. I think they need to be like 20 feet from the property line or something to that extent. So and unfortunately, I appreciate his work and he's looking into it, but I don't think it satisfies all of the zoning requirements.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other comments about this email? Anybody else from the public have any comments? I don't see anything in the chat, so I'll bring it back to the board. So what do we want to do about the independent botanist wetland specialist?
Just
I
one
would-
more. Can I just make a comment on one? On
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
So I'm just looking through an older project. There was an assessment done of the site by, let's see here. I'm trying the original report. Hold on, let me see. It might be on my plan. Yeah, it was originally done by Ken Thompson, who I'm not familiar with, but it was also renewed by South River Environmental a year later. So it's been looked at twice by two separate people. Does the commission have a copy of that original report? Are they familiar with it?
I remember seeing one, but
Yeah, I
don't-
remember seeing
I think my first meeting was in late August of last year, so I don't know if I was privy to all this information.
I remember seeing something. I can't remember where it was though.
do you know when the original report was done?
Yeah, it was done.
Certified?
It was done January 30th, 2019 by Ken Thompson, and then South River Environmental basically confirmed what that report said on July 3rd, 2020.
Yeah,
South River Environmental I don't believe they produced a second report. I just believe they just made a statement that they confirmed what was out there.
Okay.
And as was mentioned in this meeting, we also had DEP out there for a site last October, I believe it was, or September.
right, and that was for the bridge, for the footbridge, which was originally proposed in August, because that's when I came on board and I was on that site walk. And that was what we did. We went up the gravel path, We looked at where all the trees were cut down. We looked at where the well was, and then we came back down, and there was a conference with Mr. Noonan. I believe you were there, a botanist, and they talked about the footbridge. And Andrew did not, said so long as the performance standards were met, you know, that was his biggest thing that he said, if I recall correctly. Rich was there, Paul was there, Russ was there. They can confirm. Is that what you guys heard?
Say that again, Gee, I was trying to find something.
Okay, so when we did the site walk in September 15th, I think it was, Rich was there, Russ was there, Mike Noonan was there, you were there, I was there. We walked up the gravel path, we looked at where all the tree cutting occurred and all the stumps were removed prior to conservation, you know, being notified. It was a complaint that came in, I guess. We looked at that. We looked at the wellhead. We came back down the gravel path. Mike talked about the footpath, the footbridge that was going to be proposed. And Andrew there and looked at it. And I remember him saying, so long as it meets DEP standards for river crossings. And that was I don't even think I was on the board for a month. So, and that was the extent of the conversation. And you can confirm, and Russ and Rich, you guys were there too.
Nope, I'll confirm that.
And again, my concern is the river crossing, the DEP standards, the 200-foot buffer where that gravel road is near Five Dale. I mean, I would like to see more information. I wasn't on the board in 2019 or 2020. The site has changed from, I guess, when that was originally done. I don't really know. I came on in August of 2021. August 24th was my first meeting. So this is my reasoning for wanting, and we have the ability to ask for it. And so that was my rationale. I know a lot of other members, like Alex is new, Tim is new. You know, this is all coming before them as well. Kathy is new, but she's an oldie. And Dan, Russ and Rich were, and Paul, you guys were the originals of the members that have been there the longest, and Lynn. So.
Was the removal of the trees, was that done after the environmental scientist was out there or before?
There has been no work on that property since a week before we did the walk with DEP. I agreed with the commission that there would be nothing else touched, and other than a tree falling down that I had to cut up because it was across the power lines that fell into the river. There's been no work done on that property whatsoever. That site has not changed even a little bit.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Okay, I believe you. I totally believe you. What I was just asking is, when the site was delineated by the environmental scientist, was that before the clear cutting happened, or was it after the clear cutting had happened? There was the original, but it sounded like it was from 2019.
Yeah, 2019, they said Thompson, Mr. Thompson or something, and I don't know who they said for 2020. So if those scientists walked that property and made their reports, did the tree clearing happen after their reports? That's the question, right?
The tree cutting took place last year, correct? Yeah, so it was after.
Yes, after.
So
I think one of my concerns with a report that was done before this happened is, what is the impact that's happened? Are we creating a new wetland from this? We also don't have enough information. There's been enough delineation that's been done that's south of the house in that region. So I just think that because of all these things is that we do need to get someone to help us out with this.
I agree. And I think that to play on the side of caution and to have an independent wetland scientist or consultant give us a new report or just confirm or point out issues would be beneficial to the commission and our decision-making process, as well as Mr. Montgomery.
So somebody
My
wants
only
to make,
significant comment is, I know Paul and Mr. Montgomery, after we had our meeting with the DEP, certainly agreed to meet the DEP standards for all the things that they needed to do. My biggest concern is that the longer we wait on Mr. Montgomery improving this property, we talk about all this rainwater and things of that nature. He's literally putting in more trees that were already there. That's going to help all of those things. So as we continue to hold off and get additional things to possibly back up the 3 other studies that are before us, that this could be detrimental to the property's use as well. Just trying to look at the big picture in all aspects. Thank you.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but we also we can't even discuss stormwater until like March 8th. You know, by March 8th, we could have 3 names already and vote on them. And, you know, so it's not going to be, I'm sure he has to go back to zoning and planning and all that stuff. So it's not going to be an immediate thing that by, say, March 15th, he can start work on his property. There can be, you know, we can be doing some of this simultaneously as we're going through and dealing with stormwater.
No, I understand that, but as Mr. Montgomery's already missed the first planting season for him, that would be a positive improvement that would help some of that situation. I don't believe there's any way we can actually quantify what that would be as it relates to the stormwater runoff or consumption of his plantings would take on. Does that make sense?
The other thing too is that the area that's been cleared, that whole area basically is going to be utilized by that building. So regardless, we have a stormwater management plan and we're putting in dry wells to help with the stormwater management. The longer this property sits, the more damage that we're going to have, and it's going to just be more expensive for me to fix. We're really, I mean, I was under the impression that this meeting was about the crossing. I didn't think we were going backwards again.
I don't believe we are going backwards, Mr. Montgomery. I think we're just trying to ensure that the information that we have is going to be confirmed independently by our consultant, and that we can say, yes, we're confident, we're comfortable, it does make sense, this is correct. If there's any deficiencies anywhere, it will be pointed out and handled with at that time. Again, the reports that were submitted in 2019 and 2020, I mean, we're in 2022 right now. I think we just need, this is something that we have the ability to ask for, and that was my recommendation. It's up to the rest of the board. They can agree, not agree, and we can vote on it and decide. But I don't see it as trying to hold you up and prevent you from doing what you want to do. I think we just want to do it in the best possible way. This has been under a lot of scrutiny by a lot of people in the town. You have abutters that are concerned as well, and it's the interest of everyone. And to see you do what you want to do is something that we would like to succeed and have you do.
I just feel like all of the money that's been spent for these people that are licensed through the state and do this for a living is being questioned. I'm not really sure by doing this all over again, you're going to get anything different. In fact, I'm very positive that you're not.
And that's your opinion, and I'm just saying we have the ability, and I just wanted to see it because I'm not I'm seeing information that, again, information is missing from the impact of Five Dale, where that was considered a perennial stream. And I just want to have all the Ts crossed and all the Is dotted.
I'm sure that Paul will get you the information that you're missing.
I feel like I agree with you, Jeannie. Let's just get it done right. Get the most accurate information that we can. If it agrees, great. But there's a lot more information here that's missing. I think that's somebody who can come in and can look at that and tell us, yep, this is good, this is good, this is good. Bring up any sorts of issues, concerns that we may have, all squared it away. Just, it's not an unusual request to make. It's just an unusual thing for Abington to make.
I think that any information that you need, Paul should have a chance to get to you first.
Do we have access to the Ken Thompson and South River environmental reports from 19 and 20?
Should have been submitted with the NOI.
I don't know if everyone has that, the newer members. They might have the, I don't know, Tim and Alex, did you guys get just the map or did you get the full packet that had the?
Oh, it came with the updated NOI.
Yeah, page 20 of the PDF.
Yep. There it is, yeah. Tim, do you find it?
I don't see him. Did he drop off? Oh, there he is. He's coming back on.
So here's my thoughts. You guys are going to be coming back before us on March 8th for stormwater, correct?
That's correct.
If you can get us some of the information, plot out the rest of the stream on the plans, we can try and get 3 quotes. And then at the next meeting, if we still feel we need to get an independent consultant, we can vote on it at that meeting. Or we could say we have all the information we need and proceed, take a vote then. And that's up to the rest of the board as well.
I think that sounds reasonable, Paul. If these other studies have been done, if we can review them and see if there's anything out of the ordinary or that is significantly changed, I think that's a reasonable expectation.
I agree.
I agree as well.
I do as well.
Paul from Grady, that shouldn't be an issue, correct?
No, can you just specify everything? We talked about this, showing the stream further down. And the other information you want to see?
We need to just confirm that 5 Dale Street, the perennial river versus intermittent river down by where the crossing is now. That's a matter of looking at, I guess, 5 Dale's building.
I'll reach out to Kathy and see if she knows when that meeting was, where they determined it was perennial.
It'll also make sense too, because we'll be looking at stormwater and seeing what the impact is there, because that's something we can't talk about tonight. And I know that I did have concerns about groundwater and flood control and the erosion and the sediment control and all this other good stuff, so.
All right, any information that you have where you can give us further delineations of the surrounding regions would be really helpful. I think there was the isolated, was it the floodplain thing that we mentioned, that Kathy
Yep.
mentioned, Paul? Okay,
Yeah, Paul, he said he's gonna put that on the plans already.
okay.
And if you want, Paul, do you want me to forward you over a copy of Kathy's list of all of the questions that I recited earlier?
Please,
That'd be
please
easier
do.
for you?
Yes, any information that you
Okay.
guys had would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
So we don't miss anything.
Gene,
Yes,
do you want to take up the task of trying to get three quotes between
yes,
now
I
and
will.
March
I will
8th?
be- By March 8th, 3 quotes. Got it.
And also see what the lead time is as well
Okay,
to do the work,
all righty.
please.
Yeah, I will.
Does anybody else have any more questions?
None for me.
So are you going to request the continuance to March 8th?
Yeah.
No, the applicant.
Yeah, continue to March 8th so we can complete the information you're asking for. Kindly
All right.
requested.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we continue this to our next meeting
On March 8th?
on March 8th. Yes.
I
Do I have a
said
second?
second.
All those in favor?
I
Bye.
Aye.
All right, Paul, I'll get you that information on 5 Dale Street. Once I'll shoot Kathy an email, see if she knows anything, or I can probably search old meeting minutes as well.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right, thank you for
Thank
your time,
you.
everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda, which I gotta pull up. Is discussion of conservation finances. Since Kathy's the one that brought that up, I'd like to continue it to the next meeting as well, to get her input as well, since she's the one that initially brought up the issue. Or the question rather, not issue.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion that we table that until March 8th.
Second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
I'd also like to table the conversation about the fees. I know Gene's been looking into what other locales have been doing for their fees. I haven't heard back from Rockland or Whitman yet.
neither have I.
I know you've gotten what, East Bridgewater?
I got East Bridgewater, Pembroke, and Halifax.
Yeah, so I'd like to get some a little bit closer to us. If we could hopefully get better information by March 8th, we can discuss it then.
Well, I was looking at the size of the population, and that's what made me do it. But, I'm ashamed to say Rockland has not responded.
Got to get your husband to,
I
Would
have
somebody
thrown
like to
his
make a
name out
motion
there,
to
and I think
continue
that's
that as
why they
well?
didn't.
I'll make a
Sorry.
motion to continue the discussion about the fees until the March 8th meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Building permits, nothing as far as wetlands. Russ, you signed that permit today?
Yeah, there's
Correct.
nothing.
Okay. All right. Meeting minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look over the meeting minutes for November 9th,
I did.
January 4th, and the 27th of January?
I only looked at the 9th. I didn't look at January, so sorry.
Luckily, January's is short.
Yes, I know.
January 13th was very short, but I mean, one after that, I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, the January 4th one is pretty short.
Yeah.
I know I've looked that over before.
Okay.
All right, so the only ones we can approve are November 9th, January 4th, and January 27th.
Yeah. I
Somebody
have a
like to make
question on
motion? Oh, go ahead.
November 9th. When I read through them, I just felt a lot of the dialogue between Dan Mento and the rest of the board was not there. So I believe I did email you, Mr. Chairman.
And I haven't gotten a chance to look through it yet.
Okay.
You did email me though.
All right, so what I did was I took the liberty to go back and watch the meeting, and I added to the information because I thought it was pertinent for if someone looked back on this 6 months from now and said, what was this about? It just gave a more in-depth summary. And, documentation was part of my background, so I just added a little more to it. So if you could peruse it, and if you agree, you can submit it to Tony and the rest
Tony, yep.
of the commissions. So I'd like to pass over the 9th.
All right, what about January 4th and January 27th?
I believe I was out on the 27th.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve those two?
I'll make a motion to approve the January 4th and January 27th meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Last thing I have, do we want to go back to in-person meetings now? Starting March 8th?
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with it.
Everybody else?
Yeah.
Yep, good with it.
All right.
We didn't
And,
have any issues today, but
What's that?
we didn't have any issues come today compared to last week.
That was
Anybody else in?
Is that why all the Zoom links kept getting changed?
I don't know. I think maybe. That was horrible. The open space and the conservation. Alex, you were there.
There was something.
It was
Oh,
something unforgettable.
Jeez,
I wish I could be that.
my eyes.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
You have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, have a good night, everyone.